Wait, what? Um, Wait, what? Okay. Heroes, unite! Now, uh, yeah. Looks like everything's working fine. Not entirely sure. Trying to check everything. I'll be right back. This is actually the first toy review thingy, as you can see from all these. By the way, they're all Transformers from the Cybertron series. But simply put, I'll be right back. I'm actually having a few of my family members who I live with that I won't state who they are. They tend to watch some of these. I'm just going to go real quick, check and make sure everything's working right. I'll be right back. Main reason, most people do toy reviews and they're normal, like pre-recorded. This is a live stream, as the information says. So I'm going to go and make sure everything is working fine on the viewer side, and I'll be right back here. So just bear with me for a second. Or to be more accurate, about a minute and a half, I guess? I don't know. Bye. Okay, alrighty then. I am back. What? Okay, someone is watching. Well, while I wait for YouTube to load, yeah, let's see. sorry this is not going as planned. I'm trying to get some stuff figured out. I've never done something like this before, so this is kind of a learn as I go type situation. Come on. There's a few extra web pages I'm trying to get up for the purpose of working. Seriously? Can you? Thank you. Come on. Oh, I didn't. Come on. The web browser hates me today. Okay, yada 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 yada. Okay. Well, first, I thought I'd clarify this is going to be slightly different, as I will be more or less also showing the distance of the missile launcher, box art, stuff like that. Let's see here. Sorry, just give me a minute. I'm a bit frazzled, and that focus issue is not helping matters any. Thank you, camera. I did do some practice with a friend of mine via Discord to try to figure this out, so I know what to say and yada yada yada, whatever. I know all that. My problem is not sure where every little thing should be put for security, usage, yada yada yada, stuff like that. Okay. Now all these transformers that I'm reviewing are about as fresh out of the package or as new as you can make them, seeing as they came out back in like 2005 or so, maybe a bit earlier. Anywho, well, YouTube's not working, and by that I mean I can't minimize the screen, can't do anything. Anywho, first up is Hot Shot. Let me. Okay, this is working better than on Discord. On Discord it was all blurry, so right here where the Autobot symbol is, gotta watch my fingernail because I'm going to be making a stop motion with all these transformers. This is a so-called behind the scenes thingy to show you all the transformers I'm going to be using. I'm using the entire Cybertron series, but basically, as you can see, well, as you could have seen earlier, that's the Autobot symbol. And this is an Autobot named Hot Shot. One of my most, well, I would say favorite, but as a Christian, I'm very debatable about the concept of favoritism. But it is one that I'm a massive fan of. Like, to the point of, I actually wish I could meet him in real life fan. But, anywho, as of his box, this is what it looks like. Yeah, sorry about the window. Can't really do anything. So, yeah. And then this is essentially the back of the box. Anywho, according to his bio, on here it says a natural leader with a lot yet to learn. Hot Shot often races straight into danger at top speed. He takes great pride in the fact that he's the fastest Autobot there is. But it isn't until he gets to the speed planet that he learns the true meaning of velocity. Faced by the almost unbeatable Override, Hot Shot needs to... Sorry, my eyes are going a bit wonky right now and I'm kind of a bit sleepy. So just bear with me. If push comes to shove, I have a way where the computer will read it for you more or less, but I'm not sure how that'll work, so I'll go with this for the time being. Anywho, where was I? Faced by the almost unbeatable Override, Hot Shot needs to learn a whole new way of thinking about acceleration before he can win the great race. According to this, his strengths, intelligence, endurance, rank, and fire blast are all 8. Courage and skill are 9, and the speed is 8.5. Quite odd. I would have expected it to be much higher, but oh well. Anywho, I will put this down there for right now. I hate my knee right now. It just hit the desk. Anywho, every Transformer from this series, except for Minicons, comes with the Cyber Planet key. This is the Speed Planet key, also known as the key from Planet Velocitron, or the Velocitronian key, depending on preference of terminology. Now on the back, it's got a code, as you can see. When these originally came out, there was a section of the official Transformer website where you type it in and you'd get some information, like a picture and some like, well, sorry, trying to think, some random information about it. Like anything from why they were named that, to extra bio, to random tidbits, you name it. And they don't have that feature anymore, so you kind of have to have this specific website for it, which I will add right now to the description. Yeah, I had the keyboard on the floor. I'll explain why in a sec. Let's see. Cyber key code info site. Pick from code in video. Now if this will load up, I can get this set up. More or less. There we go. Now, put that there. Let's make sure everything's working all right currently. Oh yeah. Where's Hot Shot? It says here, talk about fast. Until he went to Speed Planet, Hot Shot was the fastest car on Cybertron. He was so fast that if he revved his engine and gunned it, he could drive up the side of a building, practically defying gravity. To that I say, you should meet Accelerate from Ben 10. Sonic the Hedgehog, from obviously Sonic the Hedgehog, the Flash, Quicksilver, all the beings that can use the Speed Force in DC, and, well, other very fast beings from the Marvel Universe, and other places. Because I'm pretty sure they can go faster than Hot Shot. But anywho, the Cyber Planet Key actually activates dragster wings, though he calls them Excel wings, which essentially give them a massive, massive speed boost. The toy rolls really well. Sorry, I'm just really picky about this one because of a past history I had with him, or another version of him when I was younger, which I will explain what in a sec. But for clarification, for most, the Cyber Planet Key does not have to be in the entire time you're using the functionality. Oh wow. Just wow. Normally those won't stick in or go back in unless I could have the Cyber Planet Key and then I'm holding them in while the Cyber Planet Key's doing its job, pretty much. As in, I'd have to do this and then that. Oh, sure, now it does that. See, you know, I really think Hot Shot hates me. They're supposed to go in normally, but what's been happening is I got a why won't you go in maneuver several times until eventually I put the Cyber Planet Key in and then they go in. Like, see? That's not supposed to happen. I don't know what's up with this one, but really? Give me a second. Yeah. Now, on an older one that I had, I put this in on the first one, but it got stuck. This one, it's not getting stuck. This is his grenade rifle thingy. On the show, most of the Transformers, their weapons don't actually shoot a missile out. It's lasers, and it looks like this indefinitely. But on the show, the part that's more or less the missile grenade thingy is essentially the gun barrel, and it's, well, it's blue. This is, let's see if I can, that's how far it launches. So, yeah. Pretty good distance, though. Personally, as a Transformer fan, I think it could be better. And camera's autofocus again. Thank you, technology. And again, thank you for actually working when I'm trying to complain about you not working. Anywho, I was going to use the instructions for them to show you how to transform them and whatnot. So, let's see if I can do this. I originally was going to have this over to the side while I'm transforming so you can watch, but I'll just... Sorry, I'm trying to center it. Okay, let's see if I can... Yeah. I was doing that for those in case for those people who may not necessarily have the instructions but have the transformer. But anywho, this is how you more or less transform them. You do that. Give me a second. Better kind of undo that so I don't. Sorry, camera not working that well with me today. Anywho, just kind of lift it up that far. You don't need to go too far. The reason being, these two parts kind of go down. Okay, I guess I should probably do that. Peg thingies here. As you can see, they pull it to a certain extent, which is enough to open it. Otherwise, just a simple getting your fingernail in there will suffice. And then all you gotta do is turn the stupid head around. Oh, come on, Hot Shot, why you gotta do this to me? Yeah, if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm trying to get his chin matched up with a section on what's supposed to be his neck, but instead looks more like a shirt collar. If you can see, let's see if I can. Okay, let's see what's going on. Oh. Okay, let's see if I can actually fix that. Yeah, I got no idea how to do this. Well, if you can see, there is. Let's see if I. Okay, I seriously don't know what's going on with the saying. Hey. Anywho, if you can see, there's a little triangle thing there and a section on his chin. Now, on his arms, he's got Not sure if it's showing right, but 3 missiles. 3 missiles per arm. According to the show, they're plasma missiles. So he's got 3 plasma missile launchers and 2 machine guns, here and here. Never used them in the show. Don't know why. I think it would actually look cool, but then again, who knows. Anywho, let's get that fixed. Ah, now it's shown. That triangle, that section of the chin, he looks really epic. Pew, pew, pew! It makes me feel like a kid again. Then again, I'm not sure I ever grew out of being a kid. Now, move that arm up. The missile grenade thing goes straight in the arm. And that's kind of how this one has to hold. Otherwise, as you can see, the missile launcher just kind of goes down. I hate that about them and can't really seem to fix that. No matter what I try to do. Yeah, I know that looks a bit off. Anywho, now that's how far it goes in robot mode. Now to essentially convert them back to disguise mode, as I call it. Most of the time they call it vehicle mode or beast mode. I call it disguise mode because of Transformers, robots in disguise. It's not Transformers, robots that are vehicles. Also, what annoys me is sometimes they call airplanes vehicles, and then I'm like, that ain't a vehicle, that's an airplane. I mean, it is a mode of transportation. I will not deny that. But not all modes of transportation are called vehicles, like a horse and carriage. That's a mode of transportation, but that ain't called a vehicle. Anywho. And then in reverse, okay, let's see. There's a little line there, and then that's there. So I try to get those lined up as well. You don't have to, but it is quite helpful with the transformation. You push the wheels in, or the feet in, legs up, these two things like that, and as you should have saw, or seen, rather, he has the Autobot symbol on his left shoulder. Now, I did notice this thing on mine. Okay, maybe I should... Anywho, that little section right there, that's not supposed to be there. I think part of him broke off or something. It was there when I opened it. I have tried looking for it, but to no avail. Have not got a clue where it can be found. The Side Planet Key function can be used in robot mode, but he never used it in robot mode on the show. I also really hope I don't get copyrighted from Transformers or anything because of using the same song, but well, I guess I'll have to take it up with them if that ever does occur for whatever reason. So, yeah. That is Hot Shot. I am planning on reviewing every single one of these Transformers over here, but not all at once. Because my throat probably isn't going to be able to withstand that, and let's be honest, that would make it a 6 to 8 hour stream. So you'd probably get bored, my throat would probably give out. Not helpful on either side. So for most of these, I'll just do one. But on this one, I'll do several. In fact, when you saw that it said special guest, it wasn't in response to an actual person, but rather these three Transformers, which are essentially all one being, my personal Transformer. Essentially what I would be if I was a Transformer. The name is Beetlebug. Essentially, as you can tell, they're made of Hot Shot. But not just Hot Shot, there's also Excellion and Breakaway. They all have the same chassis. Now, if you're wondering, why did I get two Hot Shots? It's, well, because of the fact... Well, let me explain a little story. Long story short, I one day, for Christmas, the year these Transformers came out, I got Hot Shot. I've been asking my papa to get it, been bugging him, yada yada yada. The infamous little kid wants toy, gimme, 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 gimme concept. Person gets it, toy don't work right. Toy breaks. Person tries fixing it, only to break it further. Essentially, as I was stating, with the missile launcher, it got stuck. I was like, give me the missile launcher! I could get it to work in the robot mode. But the first time I tried in vehicle mode, it's like, nah, sorry, you ain't using it ever again. Goodbye, I'm gonna break now. I tried to get this thing out, and I'm like, ah! Why? I mean, I didn't mind a toy breaking. Let's be honest. You buy a toy, it's probably gonna break. Eventually. But the last thing anyone, no matter what age or what toy they get, most people are not going to want the toy to break within 5 seconds. Not unless they're doing like a toy break review to see how much stress it can take before it breaks. And as anyone who has Transformers knows, there are certain parts that are meant to break off. A missile launcher that has an entire spring mechanic inside it is not one of those parts. Like on Hot Shot, it's just the arms, legs, and back. Hence the reason I was able to make these 3 guys. Well, the original Hot Shot, it was all fine, dandy, excellent. Everything was working fine. I even could transform them in like half a minute. I'm kind of wanting to getting the Guinness Book of World Records for fastest transforming time of a series. Though with Transformers like Optimus Prime back there, it may not necessarily be so good. Basically, my papa was trying to fix it, because I asked him to. Eventually he said, how about I unscrew this? Maybe I can fix it. Which are these 2 little screws here and here. I'm screaming at him, Papa, don't unscrew that! It's the Cyber key function! To which he responds, well, how else am I going to get it out? And to which I say, I don't know, but that has nothing to do with the doggone missile launcher. Those are 2 separate parts. I tell him that 3 times within 1 hour or so. He finally says, okay. As you know from a few videos, he's like, okay, Michael, I got it fixed. To which I'm like, okay. He's like, but I got some bad news. I broke the missile launcher. You can still use it, right? And the part he broke was not the spring. If it was the spring, then sure, I could still use it, because I would just say, hey, it's a gun that can't shoot. Pew, pew, pew. Yay. At this point, I kind of wish that's what he broke. Because at least I'd still have the functionality of everything else. I just couldn't shoot the missile. Not a big deal. Especially since then we had a cat. It was the infamous, you don't want the cat eating a toy concept. And a certain section of the house wasn't necessarily built right, so shoot a missile in a certain section, it could wind up underneath the house. And I'm not talking about outside, I mean inside the house. It was this weird, about a few centimeters tall space under doorways. One time we had a trapdoor spider somehow got under there. Don't ask me how or why that happened, but my point is this. Because of that, I had to watch where I shot missiles. So if that was the case, I would have been fine. But no, it was the little peg thing that you use to attach it. So I'm like, and how do you expect me to play with it if I can't use that part? And he's like, oh well, you didn't care much about it anyways, did you? And I said, not really. Blue car, transformer, it'll still work. I admit, of course, I was a bit mad, but then again, what kid wouldn't be? You just broke their toy. But at least I could still transform it. Everything was fine until I decided I was going to do what most kids around that time probably would and be like, Cyber Key Power! Why is it the wings coming out? Basically, in this version of Beetlebug, this part and the back end are from Excellion. The doors are from Breakaway, and this entire window contraption is from Hot Shot. Well, as you saw on the other, the wings are supposed to come out. See? Nothing. I literally have to manually pull the wings out myself. To which when I saw that, I'm like, Papa, what the heck did you do? Why did you break it? What happened? And he said, well, I fixed it for you. And I'm like, then why aren't the wings coming out? And he said, what wings? It's a car, not an airplane. And I'm like, this thing that kept happening when I said Cyber Key Power? And he said, what are you talking about? I more or less showed him, and he said, but aren't you supposed to pull those out yourself? And I'm like, no! The whole point of that is so you don't have to pull them out yourself. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that, but I'm like, it's not supposed to do that. It's really not. And he just is not getting that somehow. I'm asking him to get me a new one. Everything's going hunky-dory. He gets me a new one, but it's a different color. If you know Transformers, you'll know sometimes there are recolors of a Transformer. Essentially, he bought me Excellion, which is the one that has all these red flames and whatnot. Like here, here. Which, don't get me wrong, Excellion's a cool toy, but I'm like, I asked you to get Hot Shot, and he's like, oh, this is Hot Shot, it's just the red version. And I'm like, if it's Hot Shot, then why is it named Excellion? And he's like, oh, it's the same thing. And I'm like, no, it's not. I didn't read the bio, and it describes a whole nother Transformer. Something about him being native to Speed Planet and being an apprentice to a Transformer called Blur or something. And I'm like, that has nothing to do with Hot Shot. And he's like, yes, it is. It's the same car. And I'm like, I'll put it this way. It's like trying to explain video. It's like trying to explain any electronic device to my granny. Not saying that my granny's dumb. It's just, it's one of those, it's one of those moments where you try to explain something to someone and they just don't listen. It's not like it's not that they're trying to ignore you. It's just most of what you're saying is going over their head, and they're like, "Isn't this the same thing?" And you're constantly having to tell them no. I don't mind explaining stuff to people, but it's very annoying when the person I'm explaining it to doesn't listen to me. So I have been waiting for several years to get a new one. Finally did a few, I think about 2 or 3 months ago. But it's like, really? Just, really? I don't mind waiting. But, I mean, it wouldn't have been that bad if I was the one that broke it. I mean, I'm a guy who used to run his cars into a wall because he put too much effort into rolling them on the floor. So, me breaking toys ain't that big a deal. I mean, seriously. There was even an old saying in my family, which was, a toy ain't properly tested until Michael gets a hold of it. They ain't wrong. There were a few toys that said they'd be unbreakable. Got a hold of them, I broke them. But anywho, my point is this. If I'd broken it, hey, not a big deal, I broke the toy. But it was my papa who broke it after I said 20-something times, don't unscrew that. He then tried to fix it and broke it further. Go figure. So a tip to any parents out there gonna get that Transformer for their kids, or any Transformer that shares Hot Shot's chassis, whatever you do, don't unscrew anything on them. I'm speaking on behalf of your kids. Or better yet, as a better tip, anytime you have a Transformer, do not unscrew anything, unless you know what you're doing. And even then, I'd still probably say don't unscrew anything. If you're a parent, don't unscrew it. If you're a collector, maybe. Just don't unscrew something unless you know what you're doing. I mean, it's not like I'm holding a grudge or anything, it's just one of those, it was a Christmas present and you broke it. I mean, I felt like he owed me a replacement. After all, it was his money that bought the product, and he's the one that broke the product. Now, if I'd broken it, I probably wouldn't have made that big deal of it. Oops, I broke it. I mean, not real much you can do there. Toys are going to break in eventually, but it's like, hello? You do realize you are the one who broke it. So, anywho, that's fixed. But basically, each one of these is essentially Beetlebug. Now, while I transform them, I will explain a bit more about them. First, this version is essentially Beetlebug when he focuses on speed. And this version for speed, this for strengths, and this essentially balanced out, so to speak. Now, I came up with the name Beetlebug, excuse me, because of the fact I'm a fan of Bumblebee and I'm a fan of Hot Shot. Now, if you know your Transformer knowledge, you'd know Bumblebee Bumblebee is essentially a Beetle Volkswagen in his first variant ever in the Transformer franchise. And I don't mean from the movie live action thingy. I mean from Transformers G1. A series that came out like back in the 80s or 70s, I think. I don't know, I wasn't born then. But I also like arthropods, things with more than 4 legs. So I'm thinking, okay, I also like Hot Shot because I like the color blue and I like sports cars. Unlike other guys, I don't really care about the technical details. I just like sports cars because I'm a Hot Wheels fan, so sports cars equals Hot Wheels in my book. So it's like, yay, fast vehicle. That's blue. So there was that. I combined all that, and I was trying to think of a name that had correlation with vehicles and arthropods. Now I knew a Beetle Volkswagen was named after a beetle. Another name for it is a punch bug. Bumblebee eventually got the upgrade to Goldbug in certain realities. I would go with something like Goldbug, but I didn't want copyright issues, yada yada yada. Also, seeing as Beetlebug wasn't essentially one color, that's kind of like, out of the question. So I eventually came up with Beetlebug. Beetles and bugs always get confused. Like some people think a beetle and a bug are the same insect, and they're not. Like some people think a ladybug is a bug. It's not a bug, it's a beetle. Or some people think that a lightning bug is a bug. But it is a beetle. Wait, I think I just misspoke. Okay, ladybugs and lightning bugs are both beetles, not bugs. And even an insect called a crunch bug, more commonly known as a May beetle or a June bug, it's a beetle, not a bug. May get them confused, but here's how to remember, more or less. But bugs go squish when you step on them. Beetles go crunch. So the term crunch bug is paradoxical. Anywho, because of that, I came up with the name Beetle Bug. I like arthropods. Both names have a reference to a type of car. And, well, that's pretty much it. I wanted a name that had a reference to a car and a reference to an arthropod. Beetlebug was the only option, really. But, anywho, oh, hey, don't be falling on me. Anywho, the colorations just really work. I mean, this mainly focuses on the colors red and orange in robot mode. Give me a second. I'm trying to work with this. All the colors kind of work together. He's got blue already on the arms, blue doors, yada yada yada. Even got red and orange. Everything just kind of works together. And then this one is no different. Now, let me come on, you stupid camera. All of these are essentially Beetlebug. And he still has the missile launcher like the other, but this is breakaway launcher. This is Hot Shot's missile. I'll get these two others transformed back to disguise mode so I can show you. There. Wait a minute. Line there. Yeah, it's kind of happening due to OCD. Oh, this one, this arm is kind of abnormally loose. It's the only one that has a problem. I more or less broke apart others and rebuilt them to form all these versions of Beetlebug. And he, of course, has the same weapons as Hot Shot, more or less. Still has 6 missile launchers, still... As you can see, it landed in there. Anywho, still has missile launchers, still has machine guns, all that stuff, but my missiles, I don't know what they'd be shooting. But I say his normal key is the Cybertron key from Velocitron, essentially Excellions, and this is his wings. Oh, yeah, I'll convert him back to disguise mode, and then I'll show you the 3 wings all out. There. Anywho. Now, of course, those I have to do manually. But then, boom, and boom. Interesting colors. They actually work really well together. I'm actually quite surprised that they do. But anywho, I actually worked with my papaw to help compile a list of cyber key powers. I'll go over them real quick, and then that's more or less the end of this one. Anywho, Speed Planet Key, the one I just used, is Speed of Light as the capability. Planet Earth Key, this is if I ever put them into a form of fiction, so to speak, as opposed to just have them as a toy. I mean, no matter what Cyber Planet Key I put in them, it will, either way you go, just simply activate dragster wings. This is more in the sense of extra imagination, fanfic concept. Anywho, I feel very uncomfortable with that terminology, but that's beside the point. Anywho, Planet Earth Key, Speed of Sound, and Flight. Jungle Planet Key, powers of the animal kingdom, plus extra firepower, which since certain animals can fly and certain can swim, that essentially covers that as well. Giant Planet Key, extra strength and momentum, essentially allowing him to reach a so-called ramming speed, where he can just ram straight through a wall because he's going so fast. Key of Time and Space, powers of the entire Transformers race, plus chronokinesis, and for those who don't know, chrono actually is Latin for time, and kinesis is Latin for control of. There are many types of kinesis. Kineses? I don't know the plural. Anywho, there are many types of that, as anyone who knows anything about superheroes, villains, yada yada yada, would know. There's chronokinesis, control of time, and there's hydro. Basically, each one will end up in kinesis. The prior word translates to a different capability. Like hydro equals water, Cairo equals ice, pyro equals fire, terra equals earth, chloro equals plants, essentially, if you know about chlorophyll, chlorokinesis, like poison ivy, or the Ben 10 aliens of swamp fire and wildvine. And then there is telekinesis, the most common one, which essentially is mind control, because tele, I think, translates to mind, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to recheck that. But there's also magnokinesis, essentially like Magneto, having the abilities to control metal. Electrokinesis, electricity, kind of self-explanatory. I think that's it. I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to double check that at a later point. Anywho, the key of leadership, that grants the combined powers of all Autobot leaders and maximal leaders from Optimus Prime, Rodimus Prime, Ultra Magnus, Leo, Convoy, Optimus Primal, you name it. Planet X key, the powers of Planet X's inhabitants. If you know the Cybertron series, you'd know that kind of only encompasses Sideways, Soundwave, and Unicron. Though still debatable on Unicron if he's considered a Planet X inhabitant or not. The Decepticon key from the Cybertron toy line would give power of the Decepticons in the Cybertron toy line. The Autobot key from the same toy line, same concept, but for Autobots instead of Decepticons. And then there's a normal Autobot key and a Decepticon key. Those came with Autobots and Decepticons randomly throughout the movie toy line, like Breakaway. He had the Autobot key. And there's one called Crankcase, a Decepticon, same chassis as Red Alert from the Cybertron series. He had a Decepticon key. Those grant the powers of all Autobots and all Decepticons, regardless of toy line and reality and whatever. The Autobot Elite Guard key. That gives the power of the Autobot Elite Guard, which I doubt if I'll ever get that one. If I do, I'll gladly let you guys know. But seeing as it only came with BotCon exclusive Transformers, I'm gonna be very lucky if I ever get one. I'm not necessarily going to hunt for it, but if I do, I'll be like, hey, dude, thanks, give me the key. And I just realized that in certain contexts that can also be used for a person when they're getting ready to drive a car. But anywho, then there's the Sector 7 Cyber Key, combined firepower of Sector 7. It's another Cyber Planet key used in the live action movie toy line. The Maximal Golden Disc Key and the Predacon Golden Disc Cyber Key, which technically it's Maximal Golden Disc Cyber Key. At least fan terminology. They didn't have actual name. Same thing was the Sector 7 Cyber Key, and I'll put it this way. Any key apart from Speed Planet Key, Planet Earth Key, Jungle Planet Key, Giant Planet Key, any apart from those, they never actually had a name, so to speak. So the names I'm giving them are fan-made, more specifically me-made. Well, I think the Planet X key did have a name, but I'm not sure. Same thing was the Decepticon key and Autobot key from the Cybertron toy line. I think they were called Cybertron Autobot or Cybertron Decepticon. Not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that. But anywho, each one of those Golden Disc Cyber Keys I mentioned gives the combined power of whatever team they represent. So the Maximal one, auto powers of the Maximals. Predacon, auto powers of the Predacons. And, of course, I mean the Predacons from Beast Wars and Beast Machines, for those wondering. Because there are many other Transformer groups that have Predacons, like there are the Predacons from the Transformer Prime series, which those are just essentially Transformers that have a disguise mode of some dragon of sorts. Different variations which could spend potentially an hour me going over, especially since I'd probably take most of that time to research it. I'm not sure how to explain that, so I won't. And then there are the 5 Predacons from the Generation 1 series, which they were used in other variations. Those are the most common ones. Don't remember their names, but they all combine into a Decepticon known as Predaking, which gets very confusing because the Prime variation has one called Predaking. He's not a combiner, but he's the leader of the Predacons. All kinds of confusing. And then there's from the first Robots in Disguise series. They actually had 2 series named Transformers Robots in Disguise. It gets very confusing. It's almost like they're copywriting themselves. But anywho, in that series, if you know the Transformers Beast Wars and how that all worked, basically the Maximals are descendants of the Autobots, Predacons are descendants of the Decepticons. More specifically, stemming from the original first 5 Predacons. However, in the Transformers Robots in Disguise reality, the first one, they started out completely out of the water. To the point to where I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Autobots and Decepticons are instead descendants of the Predacons and Maximals instead of reversed. Other than that, everything else completely goes the same way as it does in any other series. That's the only difference. So that just sends all sorts of confusion out the window. Or rather, lets all sorts of confusion in the window and launches all sorts of common sense out the window. But either way, then there's the key to Vector Sigma. Comes with a Transformer called Alpha Trion. BotCon exclusive. His Cyber Planet key is nothing, or his. Okay, gonna have to check on that later. Anywho, his key is more or less a repaint of the whole Key of Time and Space, which belongs to Vector Prime, and Alpha Trion himself is a repaint and remold of Vector Prime, which I will get to later. And then there's the Unicron Armor Key. That is essentially the Decepticon equivalent of the Key of Leadership. Gives combined powers of Autobots, gives the combined powers of all Decepticon and Predacon leaders. Which gets very confusing because they're almost all Megatron versions, except 2 or 3. I mean, in the Beast Wars, there is a Transformer called Megatron who is the leader of the Predacons. However, he's not the same Megatron from G1, but rather a descendant. Gets all kinds of confusing. He's Megatron, but he's not Megatron, basically. It would be like if you were, instead of being named after, like, your dad or your mom, it would be like, or even your grandfather, it would be like someone being named after someone at least 500 to 1,000 or more years before the person was born. As in using a family name that hadn't been used in over 5,000 years or some crazy amount of time like that. But, yeah. I mean, I have some experience with knowing that, but I won't clarify nor deny any specifically on YouTube. At least not at this current point in time. A few of my closest friends know what I'm referring to. If you are one of those many, many people who don't bother asking. That information will be revealed in due time. I'm just not saying it right now for personal reasons. But I can promise you, and I can guarantee you, you will know soon enough. Now, when that soon enough is, that's yet to be determined. But anywho, let's see here. But to show you the keys I do have, let's see. I will, of course, re-show these with the corresponding Transformer. This is the Planet Earth key. This is the key of time and space, which I named because Vector Prime, he's the guardian of time and space. Plus the key kind of looks like a watch, or at least gears of a watch. I'll show that in more detail later. You're more than welcome to check that again if you want. I got the Jungle Planet key as well. This is the Decepticon key from the Cybertron toy line. The other keys that aren't from Cybertron toy line, I'll show at random later intervals. But this is the key of leadership. If you know Transformers, the Matrix of leadership in most versions looks just like this. At least with the handles. And this is the Unicron armor key. That's used by Megatron in this series, which he has the armor of Unicron on. But, yeah. Yeah. Trying to figure out if there's something else I want to show you. Let's see. Instructions, that. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And just so you guys know, before some idiot decides to say, ooh, he was scratching his butt on camera, I am going to clarify here and now, for those people who will probably be making those comments, I was not. I was just trying to move and adjust my clothes because I'm sitting on a chair that kind of induced sweat because the material combined with the fact I get no doggone air in this room. Seriously, all the cold air goes to that side of the house, and all the hot air comes back here where I am. I'm actually surprised I am as cold as I am. Normally I'd be sweating so much I'd probably be almost ready to pass out. But either way, let's see. Bye for now. I will review some more Transformers later. Don't know if I'll do any more today. If I do, it'll be a surprise. If I don't, it won't. Simple as that. So, well, bye for now, guys. And if there's a problem with any of the video, please let me know in the comments of the next one, or in the live chat of, in the comments of this one, or in the live chat of the next one. But either way, bye for now.